Hi, I'm Lazze and I'm back here with tips and tricks, and this time I'm in the second generation bead roller, and I'm going to run a bead on this edge here so we can see what that looks like. And sometimes the edge can be a little warpy after we put the bead on, and people think they can go to the shrink and the stretch, and I'm going to show you what happens when you do that, and that's a thing that we can't do on an edge like that. Every time you run something like this on an edge and you're using the guide in the bead roller, this edge here needs to be smooth. So it's either you cut it nice or you grind it so it's a smooth curve. Every little ding on this edge here that is cut wrong or grind wrong, and you use the guide to that, it's going to follow that, and it's going to add that to the bead when you run the bead. So you must be careful about that. And I said that in other videos as well. So what here I can do, first I put those dies in and then I adjust the shafts so they are centered to each other. So then I can use that there. So I'm going to set this like that. And then I can go down from when it's touching, I can go one more turn. And you can also, on my machine at least, you can set the speed so it's comfortable for you, and also stay in the bead roller so it's comfortable for you, and also so you're watching on the side where you're feeding it in, okay? So in this sample here, I'm going to run it this way, and it needs to be touching to the bead just a little before before the center of the shaft. That's where it should be touching on a curve like that. So now I'm ready to start run this. You can stop anytime you want and move your hands if it's a bigger piece, but make sure that you go smooth again. And it's always good to run a test piece first. If it's a large piece, run a test piece first so you see you got the right profile with the dies before you do the final piece. Because if you worked on a piece several hours in the English wheel and shrink and the stretcher, and then you go to the bead roller, you want to do a test piece first so you know that it's going to be right. Okay, so now I turn it down about 3/4 turn more. And here it's important that I keep this part in level. If I let this go up like that, I'm going to get the mark from this die here. So it's very important that I keep this in level. Turn it down about 3/4 turn more. And because this is such a big wide die, when it's touching, I can go maybe a 1/4 turn or 1/3 of a turn more, and then run it one more time because the machine flexing a little bit in the frame. So if I want it to be crisp and all the way down, it's good to run it an extra time. So now here you can see the bead, what it looks like after I'm done. And as I said, sometimes when we run the bead in the classes, this edge can be a little wavy for some reason, depends on the curve here. And the student, they think that, oh, we can go in and shrink that part to get rid of the waves there. But that's one thing you can't do. So now I'm going to shrink and stretch this edge so you can see what actually happens if you do that. So I'm over here to the small shrinker, and I can use that for a sample. So in case if you run into something, a bead like this, and you have a wave on this edge here, and you think, oh, I can go in and shrink that a little bit. And I'm going to do that now so you can see actually what happened. Okay, so I'm shrinking this part here now, and I can move it a little back and forth, that's fine. But here you can see what happened there now. So here you can see what happened here now. You can't do things like that because now we changed the width of the bead. And that's not what we want. So you can't shrink or stretch that edge like that. I'm going to go over to the stretcher and we're going to stretch that so you can see what happens when you do that as well. But this is a no-no. So here I am at the stretcher, and you can already see now what happened here when I go in here and stretch this part. And when I do that, you can see that the bead is actually wider and it's lower as well. So if we're going to put black paint on this one, it's going to look terrible. So just shrink or stretch an edge like that outside the bead, it's a no-no. So here I run another bead. So we have that. Now I'm going to bend this flange in 90 degrees. And after that, then we can shrink and stretch that. But do it now? No. So here I run the bead and I look at this edge here. So the die stays in that corner of that bend there. So I do it in about 4 or 5 steps. To do one more, it should be to 90 degrees. You need to be careful here so you don't go in too far in. Okay. So now you can see what it looks like. I got rid of the flange, but I have the flange there now. But because this was cut in and out the curve, you can also see here now that this is curved this way. Now I can go into the shrinker and I can shrink this so this is straight. And then I maybe clean it up with one time in the dies there. But I'm going to go over to the small shrinker again and shrink this flange so this is straight. I'm over here at the small shrinker again, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to shrink this edge here now, this flange, so this will be straight instead of a curve. So again, do smaller steps and less pressure, and be consistent with the shrinking. So you see now that it's almost straight, but I still have a little more curve, so I prefer to do one more time. And it helps to look from the top for me, because then I can see it when it's straight. So from that view there, you can really see that this is pretty much straight there now. I have a little curve there, but I also see that the flange was a little less in the beginning there, and that's probably that I hold it a little wrong when I put it in first in the bead roller. So now the whole thing there is flat and straight. So that's what you can do with a flange like that, but you can never do that when you have it like that. So I hope that was helpful for you with that tips and tricks in the bead roll and the shrink and the stretcher. And if you want more information, you can go to www.lazzemetalshaping.com. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.